prednisone and steroid warrior contacted me frantically last week saying, we need help. It was actually her husband saying, she's gonna die tonight if you don't intervene. Please, anything, do anything, contact the hospital. You see, my friend, she's been on steroids for a long time for a lot of issues, and she'd crashed and needed to be hospitalized. But the drug they were giving her wasn't making it any better. In fact, it was making things worse. So she'd normally been on Medrol, which is methylprednisolone, and they had switched her to another intravenous or IV version of steroids called Cortes, which is also hydrocortisone. And that had caused a very big problem. And that was that Cortes causes potassium, an extremely vital ion, electrolyte in our body, to be wasted away. It was causing her body to just pee out way too much potassium. Her potassium levels tanked. Normal is around 3.5, and she hit 2.8, I believe, was her lowest. Most people start going into cardiac arrhythmias, like their heart starts beating the wrong way at that point, and die. Like, if you have too high or too low of a potassium level, you die. Like, that's one of the ways they do lethal injections, is with potassium. They just give an injection of potassium and makes it go super high instantly, and they have an arrhythmia and die. And so we were terrified because this wrong drug was giving her potential heart problems. Like, she felt horrible. Nausea, vomiting. She couldn't hold anything down. Her fluids were just, she was so close to dying. Thankfully, her doctors were reasonable and listened to me. They let me actually talk to them, and I was able to help them switch her back from Cortes to Medrol or methylprednisolone. So finally, we first got her on the correct drug. But then they didn't know how to convert it. They were like, I don't know what to do when we go from Cortes to Medrol. It's too tricky for me. So I had to calculate the dose for her to be on. And when I calculated the dose, I asked what dose she had been on before she was hospitalized. And they said 1 unit. And I was like, wait, what? 1 unit? How? This is so confusing to me. I couldn't figure out the math. It didn't make any sense to me. No matter how many times I did it, what they were telling me didn't make any sense. So I was like, okay, the dose, I can convert straight from Cortes to Medrol. I got that. But then they wanted to switch her from the IV to the injection, it's called IM, into the muscle using insulin needles so she could go home. She'd been hospitalized for a week on the IV steroids, but they wanted to get her to be able to go home, and you can't be on an IV when you go home. So I helped them calculate if her total daily dose of continuous infusion steroids is 24 milligrams of Medrol. Let's convert that into injectable IM Medrol. So then they let her go home. She was discharged, and it was fantastic because a week ago she was nearly dead, and today she's home. So now she's home, and the family texted me again and said, okay, let's double check the dose here. If we give her this much using an insulin syringe, is that correct? And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And they had been told by the endocrinologist that 1 unit of an insulin syringe was 1 milligram of Medrol. And when I calculated it out, 1 unit wasn't enough. 2.5 units was 1 milligram of Medrol. She was getting like a fraction of the dose she was supposed to be getting. She was only getting 1 unit instead of 2.5 units per milligram. She should have been giving 2.5 times more steroids into her body than she'd been getting. No wonder she landed in the hospital. You can't be adrenal insufficient and not be getting the steroid you need. It was terrible. So we finally have an answer of why she got so sick, because she wasn't getting enough steroids, and how to solve it, because now she's on the correct drug at the correct dose, using the correct measuring tool in the correct method. So if you're wondering, is this the best dose for me? I've got a whole bunch of other videos about tapering and trying to get you off the prednisone if you need to, or if you're adrenal insufficient like her, then how to get to the lowest effective dose for you. So check out my tapering videos below. Signing off, I'm Dr. Megan, your prednisone pharmacist.